Davis calmly froze and then settled silently into a squat without turning around. He kept his eyes on the black void in front of him and waited for some word to be passed up. Once Davis had stopped, each man behind him did the same, falling to one knee and facing outward in a ready firing position. Hollister moved past Camacho, knelt near Davis, and whispered in his ear. Before beginning, he exhaled most of his breath to avoid the hissing sounds of whispering that carried great distances in the damp night air. "Going forward to check the ambush site. Hold what you got." Staff Sergeant Davis, the assistant patrol leader, nodded and looked back to get a feel for where the others were. "If I'm not here in 1-5, Hollister said, hustle back to the last rally point, that burned-out mahogany tree about 300 meters back. You hear somebody bust caps while I'm out on this recce, head straight back to the RP. Don't be a hero. If I make it, I'll find you." Davis nodded again and replied, "Okay, boss." He watched Hollister as long as his outline was visible, and then turned to scan his wedge of the hasty defense perimeter the team had formed. Satisfied, Davis crawled back to Camacho to pass the word to the others. Hollister weaved through the brush, his movements silent, slow, and fluid. First, finding solid footing with his toe, then letting his foot settle while holding his weapon at the ready, high and across his chest. He kept his eyes moving, searching the terrain to the limits of his vision for anything that might be trouble. Abruptly, the vegetation in front of him ended at the lip of a large bomb crater, half filled with brackish rainwater. Before stepping into the clearing, Hollister stopped and dropped to his knee. For several long seconds he waited and listened. Finally, confident that he could move on safely, Hollister got to his feet and skirted the bomb crater, hugging the tree line to keep from pasting his outline against the skyline. The Viet Cong platoon leader carried a Tokarev 9mm pistol on his belt. Other members of the 19-man platoon carried AK-47 automatic rifles. All, except the 4 who had American M16s, an RPD machine gunner, and one armed with a B-40 rocket launcher. Noticing that his men were beginning to tire, the platoon leader poked at some and whispered to others, reminding them to stay alert. American or South Korean patrols could be anywhere in the area. Detecting motion up in front of him, Davis thumbed his selector lever, ready to drop his rifle off of safe 2 notches to full automatic. As soon the image took shape, Hollister had returned. Davis reached back and alerted Camacho, who in turn threw a small stick, hitting Specialist 4 Vinson. Eventually, the word got back to the last man. The lieutenant was back, and they could expect to move out quickly. Hollister motioned toward the objective. He huddled with Davis and Camacho, then half whispered and half gestured, indicating that he had been to the ambush site and that it was what they expected. Taking the point, Hollister cautiously moved the patrol forward across the same ground he had just checked out. The order of march was Hollister, Davis, Vinson, Doc Norris, Camacho, and PFC Theodore, the tail gunner.